Hey guys, so this video is all about how to make a podcast. If you're interested in come on, we can't be doing that. I just want to start off with, if you want to start a podcast, go ahead and do it. Don't think about who's going to listen, how many followers I had. I personally only started with 270 followers on Instagram, and I still reached out to people. First, we're going to start with, what is your why? Do you have a business and you want to expand that, or do you want to be on another platform? What is your niche? Can you carry on talking about the subject that you're doing? Can you write down 25 ideas for that particular niche? You should be thinking long term, not short term. What do you want to do? Is it going to be about sports? Is it going to be about business? Is it going to be about productivity? Is it going to be about beauty? What is your niche? My niche on Gentle Touch is about mind, body and soul. Next, I'm going to talk about equipment. Let me show you what I use. My game headset costs £12 from B&M. Then we've got this. I don't know if you can still get it, but I got it from B&M. It's really, really good. The audio quality is amazing. I have this. This is a gaming headset. This squishes up your ears. I use this, and then this has a microphone. This plugs into your laptop. You have your microphone here. You adjust it, and then you have the control here. So on, off, up and down for volume. Creating a podcast is a lot more cheaper than creating a YouTube channel, because with a YouTube channel, either you're going to do it on your phone or you're going to buy a camera. And I've met a lot of girls that say, I'm going to create a YouTube channel on makeup. They buy a camera that costs 500, 700, 800 pounds, plus their light stand, which costs 100. So they've already invested 900 pounds. I technically started with that £12 headset and my laptop. Another microphone that's very popular is the Blue Yeti. I'm gonna put a picture of it. When I have guests and they have the Blue Yeti, I get excited. It is a relief, because I've interviewed people with their microphone and the sound quality is awful. Like, I'm struggling to hear them. Say the program I use is Zencastr if it's audio, and it shows the squiggly lines, like the audio connectivity, like how strong it is. On the Blue Yeti, it is amazing. A lot of people have asked, can they do it on their phone? I personally don't even have the storage to be doing an episode on my phone, but there's a girl called Jenna Kutcher has a podcast called Gold Digger, which is really, really successful. She started on her phone. So what you can do is you could look at what she's done or any tips, hacks she's used. The beautiful thing about Jenna Kutcher is that when she's doing her makeup and getting ready, we're talking about business strategies, social media strategies, so much value, because she's doing her makeup and she'll be on an Insta live. If you go on YouTube, her Insta lives are saved. Other people save it and then they publish it. She's a go-to. Next is your cover picture, your artwork. So you can use Canva. I started with Canva. It allows you to, your artwork is like your thumbnail. So your thumbnail for podcast. It needs to be clear. It needs to be able to show your face. People need to be able to recognize you. So one way is to use Canva. You can put titles, you can put a picture, and people can get a feel for what it is about. So make it cute, make it clear. Make sure people can identify that it's you. If you suck at using Canva, you could pay for it and go on Fiverr. Pay a graphic designer to do it. Fiverr is a website for freelancers. They kind of say what they do in the creative space. There's editing, whatever you want, you can find on Fiverr. People always recommend it. I just got my girl to do it because she's good at that. Next is program. If you have a YouTube channel, a lot of people, what they do is they use the program that they use to edit their videos. A lot of people use Final Cut Pro. I use iMovie. I have made an episode on iMovie, except it depends when you're talking, because I could talk and then take a deep breath like that. And then I realized that when I was doing that, I couldn't edit the breath out. And then my friend was like, babes, you can't even realize, but I could realize. And then I was just like, I don't like this anymore. But just use what you're used to. So I would highly recommend GarageBand if you have Mac. Since I started using GarageBand, I have never looked back. I like something user-friendly. It's so easy. I just need something to cut, copy, paste, and delete. Add the intro, add the outro, I'm out. On GarageBand, you can record as well. Next, programs I use is Zoom and Zencastr. I adore Zencastr because it shows the wavelengths. I love it because it has a timer and you could do audio. That way I have an idea of when I need to start winding down, and I keep track of my episode. Zencastr, you can also do video recording. So when you use Zencastr to record, when you download the track, it's 2. However, it will record the songs in 2 videos. At the beginning, it used to mess with my mind because I was like, I'm spending 2 times editing. I thought it was double editing. If you have 2 tracks, if there's noise on your side and the other person is speaking, you can edit your side. Say for example, I have birds, my birds make noise. If there's 2 tracks, I can edit my birds out. But now I'm seeing the benefits in having 2 tracks. However, on Zoom you can't do that. On my episodes you can sometimes hear my birds. It's only 1 audio file, so I am pissed. Another thing that I'm gonna say about Zoom is that after 1 hour it locks out. Like the first time I did this, I was panicking because it doesn't even let you say goodbye. It just locks out completely. Luckily, the guest I had knew how to operate Zoom. I'm very new to Zoom. Like she created another meeting, so then she invited me, but I couldn't log back onto the meeting. It was like a headache and it happened, and I was like nearly close to panicking. I was like, wait, what? And then I tried doing a new meeting, it wouldn't let me. My guest was like, listen, I know how to use Zoom, don't worry, I'm gonna create a new meeting, I'm gonna invite you and we do part 2, we just wind it up. If it wouldn't have been for her, I would have been like, when I was first beginning to interview on Zoom, the headset, practice before you do it. If you're new to Zoom, practice with your sibling, practice with your mom, practice with your granny. Make sure that they can hear you. I wasted 20 minutes with the guest and I needed to press a button and I didn't. Anchor is a host website. So then what I started doing was I started recording on anchorfm.net. So then here I can edit and here I can record. Another program people use is Audacity. Audacity is good because I like the wavelengths that it shows. So when people take a breath, the shape, you could recognize the shape and just delete it. Like it's so easy. However, I found it difficult to save my work, so I ended up losing my work so many times, and then I was just like, this isn't efficient for me, I'm wasting so much time. Just make sure if you're going to use this program to save your work. Ways of promoting your podcast. A lot of people create on Instagram their own page for their own podcast. I've actually done mine, so go check it out, Gentle Touch Podcast. So I put a lot of memes, a lot of relatable things, I put pictures of me, and then I put sections of the episodes on there. It allows you to keep up to date with where we are at on the season, on an episode, and it allows you to see what guests I have on there as well. It's a place to make it cute and a way to promote your podcast. A lot of people also have YouTube channels for their podcast, so I'm also starting to video record my interviews as well. If that's something you're interested, if you prefer to watch facial expressions to feel like you're in the room as well, then YouTube video is for you. I've literally just launching my first video interview. Also, I would highly recommend when you're ready, when you are comfortable, to start doing videos because the connection is stronger. I've done audio and I've done video, and I could say when doing video, when someone's talking, you can carry on nodding like this and it encourages them to speak. It shows them that you're listening, it shows them that you're paying attention. So when you nod and you're like, yeah, I get what you're saying, they carry on talking. It just kind of prompts them. Hosting sites for your podcast. Where will your podcast live? I recommend Anchor. Anchor is free. A lot of people use Anchor, they go away, try something else, and they come back to Anchor. So it just goes to show how good Anchor is. It allows you to edit, it allows you to record, and you can also see your analytics, which is a plus bonus. The only thing about it is that when you first begin, you have to do extra steps to get onto Apple Podcasts. Honestly, if you do it the right way, you only have to do it once. Once you do that, it will automatically go on Apple Podcasts. So the 2 major platforms for podcasts is Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, it's automatically there, so it sends it off. And then what you do for Apple Podcasts is you have to do a separate step. But if you listen, you follow the instructions, you watch a YouTube tutorial, you could have it up and running within 5 minutes. Apple Podcast takes 10 days to approve your account, approve your podcast, and after that, once you upload on Anchor, it will automatically also appear on Apple Podcasts as well. First thing is that a lot of people have their own personal assistants. There's a lot of gatekeepers. If you want to reach someone on Instagram, a lot of people manage their own Instagrams. However, a lot of people will direct you to their email address. So it will be the website to fill out a form, like a form with the availability. So you pick a time slot that is relevant to you, and then you kind of pick it, and that's it. That's the meeting scheduled. Another thing I'm going to say is that podcasting is very professional. Where it be email, where it be, had a few people ask me for calendar invite. I still don't know how to do a calendar invite. And also time zones are very important. In the US, I believe there's 18 time zones. So PST, EST, CST, Mountain Time, MST. So what I do is I use the 24-hour time zone converter, which helped. I've actually missed 2 interviews because I've got the time zone wrong. Say for example, Australia, when I thought it was their 8 o'clock here, it's 11 o'clock here. It's 8 o'clock the following day. I did not know that, so I literally missed it. Double check your time zone, guys. so you don't miss an interview. Another thing is, what type of podcast do you want? Do you want solo? Do you want guests? Are you interviewing people? I did solo. I tried 2 episodes solo until my goal was to make an episode last 45 minutes to an hour. I worked out that 5 minutes is 700 to 800 words. I did 2 solo episodes and then I just thought, this is too much. I'd rather interview someone. The outlines come easy. One tip I am going to give you is that if you are interviewing someone, you need to do your research on an individual, because people don't open up to you unless you ask them. Have they won awards? Are they an author? Are they a content creator? What have they launched? What achievements have they done? The more things you bring up, the more they open up. Next, I'm going to say be yourself, be authentic. So I've been in situations where I'm interviewing someone and they'll be like, have you been through that? And I'll be like, no, not really. Furthermore, I don't even know what you're talking about. Could you expand? Because if you don't know what they're talking about, probably your listeners won't know either. So then obviously then I'll ask for an example. Can you break it down for me? So one way to plan content is to make an outline. I would highly recommend making outlines. It gives structure and direction to the episode when you're interviewing someone. So another tip I'll give you is try to post at the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So that gives people till the end of the week to listen to your podcast. A lot of people listen to podcasts on their way to work, which is 45 minutes or before going to bed, as listening time goes down at the weekends because people are chilling, people are relaxing. Another way you can do your podcast is, are you going to do it alone or are you going to have another presenter? Will you co-host? If you co-host, this is very popular, but you need to be able to trust the individual with regards to responsibilities. What vision and goals do you have for your podcast? Will you sell merch? Will you release a book? Will you release a course? What will you do? Are they on the same page? They technically become your business partner. So if you do this, you need to be able to trust the individual and they need to be on point. If you're having multiple co-hosts, you are literally going into business with them. What is the vision and what is the goals? Are they on the same wavelength as you? Once you start monetizing, is it going to be 50-50? Who's going to do the editing? Who's going to do the networking? Who's bringing in guests? Who's going to do the outlines? Who is scheduling all the meetings, all the appointments? Who's scheduling studio time if you do it in a studio? You need to think about this very, very carefully. One idea to get yourself out there is to do a podcast swap. When you do a podcast swap, this is an idea for you to get guests and to be a guest on other people's shows. If you're going to do a podcast swap, please make sure that you speak to them in a way that it benefits them. Why would it benefit? Why should they come on your show? Why should you go on their show? For example, we have similar demographics. I'll be sharing it on my socials. Our audience is the same, between the same ages. We have a similar niche. It would be great to kind of do a project together. Why would they want to come on your podcast? Make it so that it benefits them, and that way they'll be interested in coming on your show or you going on their show. Think about the other person. One thing you could say is that our analytics, our audience, our demographics are very, very similar. How people are in their 20s or they're teenagers. Our niche is very similar. Remember that when you have a platform, you provide a space for someone to share their voice, to share their ideas. So that's extremely good for marketing. At the end of the podcast, you say, what courses do you have? How can listeners connect to you? Any books, courses, products? What do you have to offer? Because it's all media marketing. The more interviews you're on, the more noise that is made around them, the more people hear about them, the more people know about them. How do you want to do your podcast? Do you want to do one podcast a week or do you want to do seasons? I technically do seasons and it's about subjects, mind, body and soul. That's how I categorize them. I do 10 episodes per season. It gives me like a sense of direction. So you will see what works for you, what you enjoy. Guys, I want to stress on audio quality, only because if it's audio and someone's listening to it in their car, on their way to work, on their headphones, they need to be able to listen to you clearly and have good quality of voice. Obviously with YouTube, when it's audio and visual, people know what you're doing, so they're with you, they feel you. Another thing I'm going to say is I highly recommend you to do a video call, a video interview if you're doing that, only because the connection is stronger. I've done it. I feel like the connection is a lot more stronger. I've done audio. I was a bit scared to do video only because I scratch my nose, I yawn, and then with video you can't do that. You got to be very, very conscious that the other person can see you. Next, I'm going to talk about your intros and your outros. Everyone has an intro, like a jingle, like a little song. I did mine from royalty-free music on YouTube. So what you do is you go on YouTube, you type in royalty-free music and you pick a little jingle. I picked a jingle that I thought resonated or that vibed with what I wanted or what I wanted to create, and then I did my introduction. Then you download it with save.net. Save.net does not work in the States. I did this in iMovie and that's it, voila. If you want something more unique, more specific, you can buy a license to a song. Another tip I'm gonna say is just be you. Energy does not lie. The vibe you give off your podcast, the giggles, people can always pick up on your energy, and that is what is going to make or break your podcast, make or break the episode, make or break having another individual return to your episode, return to your podcast. podcast, return to see if you've uploaded or not. If you don't understand something, say it, because if you don't understand something that your guest is talking about, most likely your listeners won't understand either, but you're their advocate, you're their ears as well. For example, I was on one podcast, I think with Libby, and Libby was like, have you ever experienced that? Has that ever happened to you? Do you know what I'm saying? I was like, no babes, I don't even know what you're saying. Furthermore, like, please give me an example and break it down for me. And then that's when they like giggle and they break it down. I interviewed my first guest from Australia. She was using all this terminology I didn't even know, and I'm like, babe, what is that? She goes, babes, if you don't understand, please stop me, break it down, and I'll explain it to you, because I'll just go on a little tangent. Next is planning content. So what you can do is do an outline. When I bring on guests, I always send them outlines. It kind of gives them an idea of what the episode is about. If they're interested, if they're interested, and I'll be like, oh, would you be interested in being featured on a podcast? And then they say yes, I'd like to know more. Then I tell them a bit about Gentle Touch. Then I send the outline. Next, I would say, what type of episodes do you want? Is it going to be you, solo episodes? Will you have enough co-hosts? Will you be interviewing? Solo episodes, for me, I tried it because I knew I wanted my episodes to be 45 minutes to an hour long. 700 to 800 words is equal to 5 minutes. Like, I did 2 solo episodes and I was like, this isn't for me. I'd rather interview people. If you don't know, try both and you see how it goes. Another thing I'm going to say is that if you're bringing on guests, you need to do your research on that guest. Are they an author? Where have they spoken? Go through their socials, go through their websites. Have they won awards? What awards have they won, and why did they win their awards? Behind every award is a story. Behind every achievement is a story. Behind anything they have done is a story. And the more you know about it, the easier it is for them to speak. The easier it is for them to open up. Once you go through one thing, then it opens up new doors. And then just ask questions, research them, the guests that you are interviewing. One idea to get yourself out there is ask for reviews, enjoy yourself. One thing I love about podcasting is that it is very professional. People would be like, oh, can you send me a calendar invite? People would be like, please holler at my team or holler at my personal assistant. She will schedule in a call. Another thing people do is that they have a website with times availability, and you just schedule a call that way. Sometimes people will refer you to their email, to the personal assistant, to their team, or to the website where you fill out a form. So guys, just enjoy it, embrace it. You're learning something new, you're on a new platform. Congratulations for watching this video, and I hope you take the steps to now deliver and make your podcast. There's no point in watching a video and not thinking about it. No, babe, just go ahead and do it. This is your go-to. I am now telling you, go ahead and create your podcast. Everyone's creating a podcast. You learn a lot. Like, I believe it's a skill that is transferable, because when you get guests, you're persuading them to come onto your show. This is the same with selling. If you work in sales, you need to persuade someone to buy your product. So whatever you learn in podcasting is transferable. Communication skills, you're learning about people, you're studying them, you're allowing them to open up, you're creating a space. So I just want to end by saying that you create authority by the people you interview. Hope you've had an amazing time. I want to know times have been hard. It's not easy. I hope you're well and stay strong, guys. Guys, if you have any questions, please post down below. So much love. Your girl loves you. Hasta luego.